Before you go on, something you just said bothers me.
What? Breaking and entering?
No, we.
If you get married, we might drop Mrs. Price from the program, but this will be determined after your financial status has been computed by us. It has nothing to do with aid to the children.
I was wondering when Mrs. Vanderclef is due in.
No,
It's just that I'm carrying something very valuable in my purse that I'm supposed to deliver to her.
You say that things are going well, and yet one of your girls is dropping out of school.
They are? She is? Who? Oh, that Missy.
No, Tom.
You know, my mother was playing, half of the first interracial couple on primetime television. It was the first interracial kiss on primetime television. Yes, they were breaking a lot of ground. And it was the first time you saw African Americans, living like that on a television show.
What if the woman who shattered television's color barrier with a single kiss spent decades hiding a heartbreak that would eventually destroy her son's faith in love itself? Roxie Roker wasn't just breaking ground on the Jeffersons. She was living the role off-screen in ways that would leave viewers stunned.
but it ain't as sweet.
We're diving deep into the life of the trailblazer who faced hate mail for daring to love across racial lines on TV, while her real marriage was crumbling under the weight of infidelity, betrayal, and a devastating secret that her rock star son would eventually expose to the world. And here's what will leave you speechless: the final words her husband spoke to their son before walking out forever.
What do you have to say to your son? And he walked up to me and he looked me in my eye and he said, "You'll do it too." And he walked out.
Wow.
Stick around, because this story gets darker than anyone expected. Born Roxie Albertha Roker on August 28, 1929, in Miami, Florida, this future icon was destined for greatness from the start. Her mother, Bessie Mitchell, was African American from Georgia, while her father, Albert Hubert Roker, was an Afro-Bahamian immigrant from Nassau who brought island resilience to American soil. The family eventually settled in Brooklyn, where young Roxie's dreams of stardom began to take shape among the borough's vibrant streets and diverse communities. Roxie wasn't playing around when it came to her craft. She earned her BFA from Howard University, becoming an active member of the prestigious Howard Players. This wasn't some hobby. This was a woman on a mission. She even flew across the Atlantic to study at the Shakespeare Institute in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, absorbing classical technique that would later inform every role she touched. When she returned to the States, Roxie joined the Negro Ensemble Company in New York, a groundbreaking theater collective that wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo and tell stories that mainstream Broadway ignored.
She started out as a theater actress in New York City, working with various companies, but her main company was the Negro Ensemble Company.
The stage became Roxie's proving ground. In 1970, she won an Obie Award for her performance in The River Niger, a powerful drama that showcased her raw talent and emotional depth.
Norman Lear came to see her play The River Niger on Broadway and asked her to come out to Los Angeles.
But that was just the beginning. In 1974, Roxie earned a Tony nomination for Best Supporting or Featured Actress for the same production when it transferred to Broadway. Critics were taking notice, and Hollywood couldn't ignore her much longer. But before stardom came knocking, Roxie was just another working woman trying to make it in the industry. She took a job as an assistant at NBC, shuffling papers and answering phones like countless others, dreaming of bigger things. Little did she know, the man who would change her life forever was working in that very same building.
They met at Rockefeller Center, where they were both working at the time. My mother was a secretary, working for an executive.
Enter Cy Kravitz, a Green Beret sergeant who had served in both World War II and the Korean War, rising through military ranks at a remarkably young age. Cy was tough, disciplined, and carried the weight of war on his shoulders. But there was something darker lurking beneath that military exterior.
And my father was full of love too, but he just had a hard time showing it to me, maybe in certain ways, but he showed it in other ways.
His younger brother Leonard had followed him into the military and was killed in action during the Korean War. The family blamed Cy for Leonard's death, a burden that would haunt him for the rest of his life and twist him into someone unrecognizable. After his military service, Cy transitioned into television production, becoming a producer for NBC News. It was in those NBC hallways where he met Roxie, and sparks flew immediately. Here was this sophisticated, educated actress with Broadway dreams, and this battle-hardened military man turned television producer.
Although he was a journalist and he was in news, I think he really wanted to be in the music business. And so on the side, he would promote jazz, and so he knew all these folks.
They were an unlikely pair, but love doesn't follow logic. There was just one problem. Cy came with baggage. He had been married before and had 2 daughters, Lori and Teddy, from that first marriage. But when that relationship fell apart, Cy essentially abandoned those girls. No meaningful relationship, no consistent child support, nothing. Roxie even tried to encourage Cy to be a better father to his daughters, but he couldn't be bothered. This should have been a red flag the size of Texas, but Roxie was already in too deep. On December 3rd, 1963, Roxie and Cy said "I do," creating a real-life interracial marriage that would eerily mirror the role that would make Roxie famous. Their union was groundbreaking in its own right, happening during a time when interracial marriage was still illegal in many states and socially taboo nearly everywhere else. On May 26, 1964, Roxie gave birth to the couple's first and only child together. They named him Leonard Albert Kravitz after Cy's fallen brother, a touching tribute that carried the weight of family tragedy. Little did anyone know, this baby boy would grow up to become rock legend Lenny Kravitz, and he would eventually expose secrets about his parents' marriage that Roxie had kept hidden for decades. But motherhood and marriage weren't slowing Roxie down professionally. In the late 1960s, she even hosted a local community television show using her platform to uplift her community. She was building her resume, honing her skills, and preparing for the role that would change everything. Then came 1975. Roxie landed an audition for a new CBS sitcom called The Jeffersons, a spin-off of the groundbreaking All in the Family.
And asked her to come out to Los Angeles to audition for the role of Helen Willis, The Jeffersons, which was a spin-off of All in the Family, which was a cultural phenomenon.
She was up for the role of Helen Willis, one half of the first interracial couple on primetime television. During the audition, the producer expressed concern he wasn't sure Roxie looked believable as an African-American woman married to a white man. Without missing a beat, Roxie pulled out a family photo of herself with Cy and their son. The producer's jaw dropped. She was immediately cast. Life was imitating art, or was art imitating life?
Half of the first interracial couple on primetime television, and the first interracial
it was a big
kiss
deal, no?
on primetime television, which was, you know, I mean, this is 1975, but it's interesting that she ended up portraying her actual life.
When The Jeffersons premiered on January 18, 1975, America wasn't ready. Roxie's character, Helen Willis, was married to Tom Willis, played by white actor Franklin Cover. The sight of a black woman and white man in a loving marriage on television was revolutionary, shocking, and for some viewers, absolutely infuriating.
Well, honey, why are you squirming around like that?
Well, because I have to go to the bathroom.
The show depicted the first interracial kiss on primetime television, and the backlash was immediate and vicious. Hate mail flooded in. Franklin Cover even received a disturbing photo of himself with his co-stars, except his face had been blacked out, a hateful protest against the show's progressive stance. But Roxie and Franklin didn't flinch. They showed up every week, portraying their characters with dignity, humor, and undeniable chemistry. For 11 seasons, Roxie brought Helen Willis to life, navigating racial tensions, friendship dynamics, and marriage challenges with grace and authenticity. She became a household name, beloved by millions who saw themselves reflected in her groundbreaking portrayal.
Yeah, the Jeffersons became the same, ran for 11 seasons, and she played the first half of the first interracial couple.
But while Roxie was playing a woman in a loving interracial marriage on screen, her real marriage to Cy was rotting from the inside, and her son Lenny was about to discover just how rotten things had become. According to Lenny's memoir, Let Love Rule, the betrayal started long before he was old enough to understand it. Cy had been cheating on Roxie since the beginning of their marriage, a serial pattern of infidelity that Roxie endured in silence, perhaps hoping he would change, perhaps too proud to admit defeat. One day, teenage Lenny overheard Cy on the phone with one of his mistresses, discussing how to hide $50,000 from Roxie. Cy, whose career ventures had failed repeatedly while Roxie was bringing home steady paychecks from the Jeffersons, was using his wife's money to fund his affair with some gold-digging mistress. The realization hit Lenny like a freight train. Furious and heartbroken, Lenny immediately called Roxie, who was filming in the Bahamas, and demanded she get him a plane ticket right away. He flew from LA to Miami to Nassau, carrying the weight of information that would shatter his mother's world. When Lenny arrived and told Roxie what he'd discovered, he expected shock, tears, rage. Instead, Roxie revealed something that broke Lenny's heart even more. She already knew. She'd always known. Cy had been cheating since day one of their marriage. She even shared stories of showing up at his mistress's doorstep with baby Lenny in her arms, ringing the doorbell, and begging Cy to come home. Roxie had endured years of humiliation, betrayal, and heartbreak, all while maintaining her composure on set and raising their son with love and strength. But this latest betrayal, Cy stealing her hard-earned money to fund his affair, was the final straw. The marriage was over. After more than 2 decades of trying to make it work, Roxie sat down with Lenny and Cy for one final conversation before the divorce.
When my parents split, my mother sat me down with my father.
Roxie explained everything to Lenny, laying bare the full scope of Cy's betrayal. Then she turned to Cy, giving him one last chance to say something meaningful to the son he was abandoning through his choices. And this is where it gets truly devastating.
After she'd explained the whole scenario and he was getting ready to leave, his bags were at the door, and she looked at him and said, "What do you have to say to your son?"
Cy looked his teenage son in the eye and said 5 words that would haunt Lenny forever.
And he walked up to me and he looked me in my eye and he said, "You'll do it too." And he walked out.
The divorce was finalized in 1985. Lenny was left grappling with his father's prediction, questioning whether infidelity was some inherited curse he was destined to repeat. The trauma of watching his mother suffer for years, combined with his father's cold dismissal, shaped Lenny's views on love, commitment, and family in profound ways. But Roxie, she didn't crumble. She didn't retreat. She rose. While the Jeffersons continued its successful run through 1985, Roxie expanded her television presence beyond Helen Willis. She appeared in the groundbreaking miniseries Roots in 1977, bringing authenticity to America's painful reckoning with slavery and its legacy. She guest starred on Fantasy Island.
Those 2 men are in the restaurant. I saw them go in. I'll just take my chances that they stay there while I search their bungalow.
And The Love Boat.
He stole my best girl.
Oh, your best girl. Oh, Gary, you went off to Europe? I didn't hear from you for a year.
Showcasing her range in lighter fare. When Murder, She Wrote became a phenomenon,
It was like they took a crowbar and shattered his heart into 1,000 pieces. We never could find them all again.
Roxie appeared in a memorable episode that had viewers talking for weeks.
Yeah, Murder, She Wrote. That's actually...
That was 2 weeks ago. Everybody saw that. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Y'all see that? Yes, yes! You agree with it?
Yes, but you're nice. Thank you.
She joined the cast of A Different World during its critically acclaimed run.
Now, Karen Kennedy insists on leaving campus this afternoon. Poor thing, so homesick.
Addressing serious issues facing young Black Americans in higher education. And she brought warmth and wisdom to Hangin' with Mr. Cooper.
Expect monthly payments, 5% interest, and that's good. And if you miss just one payment, your part of the house comes to me.
Proving her versatility across genres and generations. Roxie Roker wasn't just a one-show wonder. She was a consistent, respected presence across television for decades. When The Jeffersons was abruptly canceled after 11 seasons in 1985, the cast was blindsided. Isabel Sanford, who played Louise Jefferson, publicly expressed how disrespectful the cancellation felt. No proper goodbye, no series finale to honor the show's groundbreaking legacy. But Roxie took it in stride, focusing her energy on the work that truly mattered to her. Advocacy. Roxie became deeply involved in child welfare and abuse prevention in Los Angeles. She served on the board of the Interagency Council on Child Abuse and Neglect, dedicating countless hours to protecting vulnerable children. The Los Angeles City Council recognized her exceptional service with 2 official citations, honoring her commitment to making a real difference beyond the camera. She was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc., maintaining lifelong bonds with her Howard University sisters. She counted Marla Gibbs and Cicely Tyson among her close friends, women who, like her, had broken barriers and refused to be limited by Hollywood's narrow vision. Through it all, Roxie maintained her elegance, her dignity, and her commitment to excellence. She showed up with photo shoot-ready hair, impeccable style, and the kind of grace that comes from knowing your worth isn't determined by anyone else's treatment of you. Lenny, watching his mother thrive after divorce, learned a different lesson than the one his father had predicted. He saw resilience, he saw strength. He saw a woman who refused to let betrayal define her story. Years later, Lenny would write the song Thinking of You as a tribute to Roxie, processing his grief and love through music. In the video, he sang behind a photograph of his mother from her younger days, honoring the woman who showed him what real strength looks like. Roxie's influence on Lenny's life extended beyond emotional resilience. She became a grandmother when Lenny and actress Lisa Bonet welcomed daughter Zoe Kravitz on December 1, 1988. Roxie poured her love into her granddaughter, creating a bond that would become even more poignant in the years to come. By 1995, Roxie was battling breast cancer. The disease was aggressive, and despite her fighting spirit, it was clear time was running out. The family watched the calendar with growing dread as December approached. Zoe's birthday was December 1st, and the thought of Roxie dying on her granddaughter's birthday was unbearable. Roxie held on through December 1st, making it past midnight. She died at 2:02 a.m. on December 2nd, 1995, at the age of 66. The family's worst fear was avoided by mere minutes, but the loss was devastating nonetheless. Roxie Roker left behind a legacy that extended far beyond her famous son or her groundbreaking television role. She paved the way for interracial couples to be portrayed authentically on television. She proved that Black actresses could carry primetime shows with grace and humor. She showed that advocacy and activism were just as important as fame. And she demonstrated that surviving betrayal doesn't require bitterness. It requires choosing yourself over and over again until you remember your own worth. At the time of her death, Roxie's estate was valued modestly compared to some Hollywood stars, but her true wealth couldn't be measured in dollars. She left behind a son who would become one of rock's most influential artists, a granddaughter who would follow in her footsteps as an acclaimed actress, and a television legacy that continues to inspire performers today. Her cousin, Al Roker, would go on to become one of America's most beloved television personalities, carrying the family name into another generation of broadcasting excellence. The hate mail she received, the racist protests against her work, the personal betrayal she endured, none of it stopped Roxie Roker from showing up fully as herself. She kissed Franklin Cover on national television when interracial relationships were still controversial. She fought for children who had no voice. She raised a son who would shake the music world. And she did it all while maintaining her dignity, her elegance, and her commitment to breaking down barriers that others said couldn't be.